I bet you thought this was going to be a Christmas episode. Well, you were right. Welcome to Tabletop Shop.
Hello, and welcome back to the Tabletop Shop podcast Christmas episode. As always, we will lead off with the new games we've played this week, and then hold up, Cody, hold up. There is no game of the week this episode. Instead, we have a special time-honored Christmas tradition hosted by yours truly, and not even Cody knows what's going to happen yet.
How is this a time-honored tradition if it's the first time it's happened?
Cody, you know something funny? I don't think I've ever gotten through an intro without being interrupted by you.
Well, you've never gotten through an intro like saying anything correctly. So come on, dude.
Wait, I don't even know what your criticism was.
You said this is a time-honored tradition, but if it's the first time we're doing this, how's that a time-honored tradition, bro?
Well, maybe you'll just find out, Cody.
All right.
After that,
I'm kind of excited now.
We have another annual tradition of our top games we learned in the following year, 2023, this year. This time,
you got it,
with a
got that
special
part right.
edition. We're just talking over each other at this point. I am one of your co-hosts, Nate Clark, and seated, as always, halfway across the country from me is your other co-host, Mr. Cody Pennington.
I am proud to co-host that intro.
You did that very well. There was a lot of co-hosting going on.
I was even thinking as I was messing with you, like, I do this a lot, and he's probably going to get frustrated. But I'm like, but it has to be said because it doesn't make sense. So,
but maybe it will, Cody. Why would I say it if it doesn't make sense? You know me.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Cody, what level is your Christmas cheer at? I just want to know.
How do you gauge one's level of Christmas cheer?
Just give me a number. Like I feel like I'm somewhere like in the mid 70s, maybe upper 60s.
Give me a second. Are
you gonna plug this into your board game deal rater?
I'm going to BGG. Let's see, where is that?
Find your answer there, huh? You know, we might have talked about this last year. I think Elf Creek Games just republished Santa's Workshop. Wasn't that your game of the week last year?
It was, actually. Yeah. Well, it was the Christmas game that I would get.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But Elf Creek Games just recently republished it. I think just recently.
Really?
Yeah. Brand new, fancy-looking edition.
I told myself I was going to buy a Christmas game this year, and then I already spent my Christmas budget, so I won't.
Next year, definitely.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you're asking what my level of Christmas cheer was, and I'm going to give you an 8, because according to BGG, that's very good. Enjoy playing and would suggest it.
Okay. So you're at 8. So if I'm the upper 6s, let's say I fall into the 6 category.
Sure.
What's that?
6 is okay. We'll play if in the mood.
All right. Well, I'm not really sure how that translates. You ready for your intro question, Cody?
Yeah, dude.
This one's actually from Anna.
I thought that was the intro question.
No. This one's Anna inspired, okay? This was her idea.
Oh, okay. This should be good.
What is the first game that you played with Kirsten? And my addition to this question is, would you change that first game if you could?
Whoa, the first game I played with Kirsten?
Yeah, man. Think back.
Oh, dude, that's a tough question.
Does your relationship with Kirsten predate, like, really getting into hobby board games? Was Scythe first or Kirsten? Scythe was first, right?
No, Kirsten was first. It was before Scythe. Yeah, before Scythe. BS.
Kirsten is BS. Don't tell her I said that.
I mean, she's going to listen to the podcast. She already knows, dude. It's too late. So anyway, I guess that's a good way to look at it. It would be before I owned Scythe. Unfortunately, so I've been keeping track of every game I play every month for a while
not that
now,
far back.
But it doesn't date back to that, though.
So use your memory, Cody. Memory.
Ah, man.
Or take your best guess.
Of what I owned before Scythe. I think I had Dominion at that point.
Like, was it Monopoly or something, maybe?
No, it wouldn't have been any of those, like, standard games. So I'm gonna guess Dominion would be a close answer. I know I own King Domino at that point as well, so it might have been King Domino. So since I'm not sure, I'm just gonna say King Domino. I'm just gonna call it King Domino.
Looking at your current collection, Cody, if you
Yeah.
could, what would be the best game you own to be the first game to play with, at that time, I don't know, just your girlfriend, I guess. What's the best first game to play with her?
Are you asking like for pickup lines, but board games?
Maybe. Like, what's the best
Like,
one that you're like definitely
Hey
going to get a
girl,
second
you ever
date?
played 10-minute Heist?
Like, what's the one that's like you're guaranteed to get a second date? I feel like this is an entire board banter topic at this point.
That's a good question.
Depends on the person, right? Maybe
See,
Love
the
Letter.
thing is, yeah, except I haven't played it, so it's off the table. But the thing is, like, I think I have heavily influenced Kirsten as a board gamer. She wasn't really a board gamer before
Right.
me. So, it's like, are we going to say, as the gamer she is now, what game would I have chosen? Or are we going to say, at the time, if I was like trying to get her into board games and into me, I guess.
Into board games and into you simultaneously.
Okay, so based off the ones I own, I'm looking through my collection right now. The thing is, I know her favorite game is Brass Birmingham, but if I dump that on her,
Ooh, boy, she wouldn't even
first
finish
got
the
it.
game. She'd be out the door.
she'd be gone. You know what? Probably Floriferous. It's one that she really likes playing right now, and it is still pretty simple. So I think she probably would have enjoyed that. And it's very calm. It's relaxing. I know from talking to her, because I talk to my wife every now and then, that one of the things that attracted her to me from the beginning was that I'm like a
Sensitive?
not a very well, yeah. I was gonna say very chill dude, but appreciative of the calmer things. How about that?
Okay, sure.
And so Floriferous is a good representation of that atmosphere.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I'd go with that.
I think I would go in the same vein, but I'd go with Meadow because there's a little more
Oh yeah.
strategy than there is in Floriferous.
Hey, do you remember when I like traded you Meadow for something else? I forget what it was.
Nope. But I do know I have it. All right, should we
You
move on?
have
Because this is... this is a
Well, no,
long
I was
intro.
going to say that Kirsten still won't let me live that down. Apparently, she didn't really want to get rid of it, but she was at the time she just didn't really care that much, or at least she didn't say that she cared that much. And now she's always like, "Oh, I wish we could play Meadow." Like, I'm sorry, Nate has it now.
You know what's funny is Anna doesn't even really like it that much. So
Oh, what?
yeah,
No.
what are you gonna do?
Cody
All right,
and Nate
Cody.
letting down their wives since 2020
Different
and
dates.
2022, respectively. Yeah.
So what'd you play this week, Cody? What new games did you play this week?
Here's the thing: we haven't recorded for like a month.
A while.
So it's more like, what have you played this month? And for new plays, I only have one answer. It's Bonsai.
Bonsai.
I've told you a
You
little
mentioned
bit about
this,
Bonsai,
I think.
haven't
I don't know if it was on the podcast. I think it was.
Yeah. Pretty relaxing game. And I think it just about met my expectations. I was going into it knowing that it wasn't going to be like a super complicated game and might be more atmospheric than strategic. And it basically was, but it actually had a bit more thinking power to it than I was first expecting. Maybe just a little bit above expectation. But what you're doing is you start with your little tree pot and you have like one wood stem, which is a little hex. And then you're trying to collect different hex tiles to add to your tree. It's supposed to look like you're growing your tree. So you can get little wood hex tiles that represent like the trunk of the stem. Then you can get leaf hexes to add on the outside, and then flowers and fruit. And what's cool about it is you end up making a tree based on the requirements of the tiles for placement. So fruit can't directly touch a branch. I think it has to be between two leaf tiles, and leaf tiles like only touch wood. And so it's just how all the rules work together. If you want to score well, which is like getting flowers and fruit, like the last things you can place, you actually have to build out what looks sort of like a little bonsai tree.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool how the theme actually pairs pretty well with the mechanisms in the gameplay.
Is
And it
it
was pretty fun,
still
pretty
is it
relaxing.
still pretty light, I'm assuming?
It still is fairly light, but I would put it above Floriferous in lightness.
Okay.
As an
Not
example.
saying much, but okay.
Well, sure, but I mean, maybe King Domino level. of complexity, maybe a little bit more.
How is we never came back to this. How is Beer and Bread? Did you ever get a second or a third play?
I still haven't played it a second time, dude.
Man. So well, that's
Been
saying something already, though, isn't it? That you haven't that you haven't revisited.
The thing is, we haven't really played many games at all since then, anyway.
Okay.
So
Well,
I don't
okay.
know if that's a slam on Beer and Bread necessarily.
Okay, well, you owe it to me, man. You got to get another play in.
I know. Well, yeah, I don't have anything.
All right.
That's
Let's just move on to me then. I also only have
Yeah.
one to mention. This is I hesitate to say a Grail game, but it's been on my to acquire list for a very long time, and I just never did it. But I always wanted it. This is Lorenzo il Magnifico.
terrible name.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's okay. So let's be fair. Like, no theme whatsoever. Like, it's about a real historical figure, Italian dude during the Renaissance period, I guess. Yeah, whatever. It's like that. There's no, it's your basic like drab colored
I am gripped
Euro
right now, dude. I am so invested in this story.
So, anyways, Lorenzo Magnifico is a not really dice placement. It's a worker placement game, but all of the workers have numbers assigned to them based on dice that you roll at the beginning of the round. So you roll 3 different colored dice, and everyone has those 3 different colored workers, and so those workers are given the value of the dice that was rolled for each color, respectively. So, like, if you're going to use your orange worker, if you rolled if a 2 was rolled on the orange die for that round, then that orange worker has a value of 2. But so does your opponent's, right? So it's kind of this cool idea of there's one general rule that affects everyone's workers equally. So there's randomness, but not really, right? It's randomness that's equally distributed,
That's innovative right there.
So you're drafting cards. There's like 4 different towers, 4 different colored cards, and you're using your workers predominantly to draft cards and then add them to a tableau. And this actually kind of wingspan style. Like, you have 4 different colored cards, and they go in different rows on your player board or next to your player board. And you have like the green cards basically are for producing basic materials, resources that you need in the game. The yellow cards are really almost in a furnace style. You have all these different cards that have a lot of ratios. It's a lot of like spend this to get that. So you have a lot of those different cards that end up on that row. And those are both ones that you can then trigger and you run through and you do everything. So when you add cards, you don't do anything, usually. Sometimes there's immediate bonuses. But then there's another spot on the board where you can go to trigger one of your rows and then activate every card in it, like kind of wingspan style. So that's pretty cool because you're building up your tableau, and then you go on a spot on the board to trigger it and do a bunch of stuff. It's pretty fun, but also competitive because there's just one spot on the board. And so if I take that spot, you can't go there this round, whatever, So there's good player interaction that way. And then you have your purple and your blue cards that have end game scoring things and other ways that they affect the game and affect your placement abilities and all this kind of stuff. So it's a very like it's Euro to the core, like there's no theme ingratiated very well at all. It's just worker placement, tableau building, running that engine, and trying to get cool combos. There's a lot of different resources in the game, and there's like these leader cards that give you goals throughout the game, and once you achieve them, you get a special ability that affects the dice, or it affects all sorts of things. There's a lot of different things in this game that can be affected, and they are affected by cards in the game. It's very cool. One of the best things about Euros is that because there's so many rules, you can twist so many rules to make the game more interesting, right? That's why something like Furnace that doesn't have a whole lot going on can't be twisted too much.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's Lorenzo il Magnifico. I was a little disappointed it wasn't as heavy as I thought it was going to be. Even on BGG, it's I feel like it's the weight ranking is higher. The complexity ranking is higher than it feels to me. But I did get it with the Houses of Renaissance expansion, so I'm looking forward to mixing that in and seeing what it provides. That's that. Lorenzo il Magnifico.
That is exciting.
Yeah, man. Okay.
I think, is this on my list to get? I don't think so.
It's really drab looking. Like, there's nothing to attract you to it unless you watch like a how to play video and you see how the game works, and then you would find it more interesting probably.
You know what? Actually, I have Lorenzo under my eventually list. Is there a difference between that and Lorenzo Il Magnifico?
I don't think there's any other game named Lorenzo.
Okay. So this was a Grail game for you.
More or less.
Did it fit the bill? Did it make you happy?
Like I said, I was kind of disappointed at it being lighter than I expected.
Okay.
I'm glad I got an expansion with it, so I'm hoping that adds in. And the leader cards are really nice that give you these kind of short, longer term goals throughout the game, but they're not really scoring things. They give you special abilities once you achieve these goals. And they give you direction also. They give you kind of something to focus on instead of just like in Tapestry. Well, Tapestry, sometimes you have leaders, but a lot of times it's just like, well, which tracks am I going to try and focus on this game? And you kind of just pick a couple and just go for it, right? With the leader cards in this game, it's like, oh, okay, so I really want to try and focus on this and also that simultaneously so I can get these abilities, It's cool. But enough about that crap, man. Enough about that crap. We need to move on to not our game of the week, but our special segment.
Our special segment of the week.
Special segment of the week.
Which is accompanied by the same theme music we always use.
Okay, Cody. So what were you criticizing me, saying this is something we've never done?
Well, you said this was like a time-honored tradition.
It is, Cody.
Well, but is this from Way Brothers days?
This is from Way Brothers days, Cody. Hello, Cody, and
people
welcome.
won't know.
Welcome to the Tabletop Shop podcast game show. Cody, you,
yes.
Unbeknownst to yourself up until this very moment, are a contestant and the only contestant on this TTSP game show. All right, here's how it's going to work. There are 12 questions, okay? Every question you will have 30 seconds. They're all going to be multiple choice, all right?
Okay.
Every question you will have 30 seconds to answer. So I'll read the question.
Well,
I'll give you your...
even.
What's that?
I'm timed even.
Oh,
wow.
yeah, man. So I'll give you the question. I'll read your options. Then your timer will start, and I'll probably read the question and options again while you're thinking. And you have 3... I don't want to say hints, but I'll just call them hints to use. I was going to try and think of actual hints, but it was too much trouble. So instead, you have 3 like freebies you can use where I will strike out 2 of the options, and you have just 2 to pick from.
Okay.
So you have 3 of those you can use.
Is this an open book test, an open BGG
No.
test?
No. If you have BGG open, you'll get like all of these.
All right,
so
I'm closing BGG right now.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of integrity involved in this since we're not in the same room. Okay. Now let's talk about the punishment. All right. There's not really a reward if you win, but there could be a punishment if you lose. All right. So here's the terms. All right. Now we both have something at stake here.
Yeah.
If you win, as the time-honored tradition dictates, I will drink a glass of eggnog.
Yes.
If you lose, Cody, a little birdie told me, and I won't name them so they don't get in trouble, but
no.
somebody told me that you
no.
hate tomato soup. And so, is this true, by the way?
No. Yes, I hate tomato soup.
Okay, well, that was disappointing. Do you not dislike tomato soup?
As soups go, it's probably the middle ground of a soup I would choose.
You know
I'd
what,
much
Cody?
rather choose a bunch of them, but there's others that I'd take it over.
Maybe I'll leave it up to you to pick something even worse.
Okay, I hate broccoli. How about that?
Do you actually?
I do.
Okay, then you'll have to eat, I don't know, a few florets of
florets.
broccoli.
Hey, dude, I'm surprised. I'm impressed that you knew that. Good work, bud.
Okay. Do you accept those terms, Cody?
I do accept, and if I lose, I will record the proof in a future TTSV, Tabletop Shop vlog.
That is what I was referencing earlier. Yes.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Dude, let me just say, I am excited. Thank you for putting this together. So I did it that one time for you, and that was a bunch of fun. I like making games. I like making quizzes. Kirsten just had a ladies' church group thing over doing like a Secret Santa, and I for them, I made it's something of a game, but it's really just a bunch of questions. There was like random trivia and then like Bible trivia and then like other random trivia based on like, do you remember the color of the door that you came through to get inside? Just like random stuff like that. And I had a lot of fun doing that, but no one ever makes games for me, you know? And sometimes I'm alone there in the corner, like making a game, and I'm like, if only someone would make a game for me. And Nate, you pulled through.
Also,
Best
Cody,
Christmas present.
if you walk into your game room, there's an entire room full of games that were made for you. So I don't want to hear your pity.
Well, were
your
they made
sad
for
story.
me though? For me?
If you own them, they were. Okay, but
Okay.
Here's the thing: you have to get more than half right. Okay, so you have to do better than 50%. So you're gonna have to get 7 out of the 12 right.
Okay,
Sound good?
that's reasonable. Well, I'll let you decide. Is that reasonable? Like, how difficult are these questions? Do you think it's likely?
They're all over. I really don't know if
Okay.
it's likely or not. So we'll just see how it goes, man. You can tell
I
me
think
later if you think it was unfairly difficult.
I think you know, like, board game trivia, like dates and names and stuff a lot better than I do. It's something that I don't pay that much attention to. But we'll see what happens.
We will see. And there's a couple funky questions on here too. All right.
Okay. All right.
Well, Cody, let us get on to question number 1 then. Which of these designers has more games in the top 100? Reiner Knizia, Vladimir Suchy, Shem Phillips, or Vital Lacerda? Time has started.
Reiner
30
Knizia.
seconds. Oh, you're already. Okay, you're already phone. That's your call.
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's A.
Okay, Cody's gonna lock it in with A.
You can lock
Cody,
it in.
not only are you incorrect,
What? No, dang it.
Reiner Knizia has no games in the top 100.
Dang it. Okay, what about Corey Knizia? Maybe it's him.
Corey Knizia?
That's a dude, I'm pretty sure.
Knizia? I don't know who that is. Sorry, man. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have more games in the top 100 than the correct
Corey
answer,
Knizia.
Vital Lacerda.
Give me a sec. Give me a second.
You have a second.
I'm on BGG now.
Okay.
Corey Knizia has Twilight Imperium, rank 5, Star Wars Rebellion, rank 10, Star Wars Imperial Assault, rank 66, and Battlestar Galactica, rank 95.
So
he has 4.
What you're telling me is, Cody, is that you kind of don't know who Reiner Knizia is.
I mixed up Corey and Ryan. Are they not related?
I don't know.
I guess I kind of
actually.
thought they were.
I don't know.
Okay, let me tell you. The reason I knew that is because for some reason, I think it was just personal information. I was going through and trying to figure out where Shem Phillips landed in having number of games, like in the top 100, and I went
okay.
through
So
all
you knew
games
he
in
was
the
at
top
number
100.
one.
I knew Corey Knizia was
Okay.
there
'Cause I
and
kind of-
think maybe
I
since
threw-
you didn't say him, maybe I said Reiner.
I threw Phillips in to throw you off a little bit because I know that he has multiple games in the top 100.
Yeah.
But Vital
So who
Lacerda
do you-
has 4 games. This is the
So he
designer
tied.
of On Mars, of Kanban EV, of The Gallerist. They're all very, very heavy Euros.
Dude, I don't even recognize his name. It's
Fun
pathetic.
fact, actually, Lacerda is credited for 15 designs as of 2023, meaning that almost 27% of his designs are in the top 100. Like more than a quarter of the games he's made are in the top 100 of all time as of now.
Dang.
So, all right, Cody, off to a bad start, I'm afraid. But
Here's the thing. You had no idea who Corey Knizia was either.
That's fair.
So I feel like I get half a point.
I don't think so. You still got the question 100% wrong.
All right. What's question 2?
Okay. Question 2. As of December 2023, which of these games is ranked higher? Beyond the Sun, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, Tapestry, or Robinson Crusoe?
Oh.
Which of these games is
down-
ranked higher? Beyond the
I'm
Sun,
pretty
Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, Tapestry, Robinson Crusoe.
it's between A and D. Give me a lifeline. Strike out 2 of them.
Well, I can't really do that because you just told me which ones you know it isn't.
Oh, dang it. I thought this was going to be randomized or something. That's how these game shows work, dude. Doesn't matter if they're musing out loud of what they think. It's just strategy.
That's fair.
That's true. Okay.
Well, I will because
I-
we both messed up. I will not give you a time limit, but I will also not do a hint either.
Okay. I'm picturing Beyond the Sun. For some reason, like 23 was what's coming to mind, and I feel like it was like 40 something for Robinson Crusoe. I could be wrong. It could be much higher. I'm gonna go with Beyond the Sun because that I think is pretty good.
Cody's going to go with Beyond the Sun. That's correct.
Yeah, how'd I do?
However,
Yes!
you were
Oh.
nowhere close with 23.
Oh, really? What was it?
It's ranked 84.
Oh, Okay, well,
Yeah.
at least I knew it was in the top 100.
Okay, so
All right,
Cody,
cool.
you're at 50%, which is still a losing statistic, but what it is.
Whatever.
Also,
Okay.
my wife, who can hear me in the other room, just texted saying that instead of eating tomato soup, you should have to eat a clove of garlic, which I like. That feels very punishing.
A whole clove of garlic?
Not like like one little piece, like one little break off
Okay.
piece that you peel.
Can I roast it first?
No,
I've
no,
had
no,
roasted
no,
garlic
raw.
before. I don't do well with disgusting food, bro.
Well, it's not that bad. She's been eating actually some because she's sick, and that helps you. It's actually really healthy for you. So
you know what? I'm willing to accept this because Nate, and here's the because. You can't argue with this.
I won't.
You never actually drank eggnog as the punishment. That cup was full of water.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. You sure?
There was no eggnog. I remember that. It was just water. It was fake. It was a sham.
I feel
That's
cheated.
why we had to shut down Way Brothers.
I feel cheated if I ever go back and rewatch that and I forget this. I will feel cheated watching that, thinking I was drinking eggnog. Wait,
you're
so
the
you're
one who
telling me I
picked
was
it up.
acting?
Yeah, dude. What, you think eggnog tastes like water?
I don't remember, man. That was a long time ago. I thought I actually drank eggnog.
No, dude.
Well, maybe I'll pull the same stunt again if you win.
Go find a professional psychologist, watch it with them, and let them analyze like
If I'm
your
acting.
facial muscles. Yeah, and see. They'll know.
All right, Cody, well, you're 1 for 2. Let us
right.
move on to question number 3.
Okay.
Question number 3. Which of these designers hails from the U.S.? Was born in the U.S.?
Okay.
A. Antoine Bauza. B.
No.
Rob Davio. C. Uwe Rosenberg. Or D.
No.
Martin Wallace.
He's British. So Rob Davio.
That's
Gee.
correct. I thought that would be an
Yeah.
easier one.
Thanks,
That's
dude.
correct. So Antoine
Thanks for that
Bauza.
softball, that underhand right there.
Let's see if you know where everybody's from, though. Antoine Bauza.
French.
Correct. Uwe Rosenberg.
Germany.
Correct. And you got Martin Wallace correct already. And where's Rob Davio from, Cody?
USA.
Okay. But that is correct, Cody. So good.
Thanks, dude.
You're doing well now.
All right.
Okay,
I
here's
feel better
a
now.
weird one for you. Question number 4. Who currently has the highest ranked X and right? So it could be a roll and right, it could be a flip and right, whatever. So who currently has it ranked the highest?
Okay.
You, me, the BGG Top 100, or the Dice Tower People's Choice. And so I'm using my and your Top 100 list as of last year because I don't know what your current list is. So as of you last year, as of me last year, and as of the Dice Tower People's Choice last year.
All right. I'm going to close out that I don't have the doc visible, but I had that doc available for podcasting.
Okay, time is
So-
starting. Of those 4 lists, which one has the highest ranked? Not the most, the highest ranked.
Highest ranked something and right game. What? From last year? I don't think I had one on that last year. It's not me. Had you played any blank and rights? I'm not sure. And then what was the other 2? BGG and then Dice Tower People's Choice?
A BGG Top 100, Dice Tower People's Choice. And time is up, Cody.
People's
You must
Choice.
lock-
Dice Tower People's Choice.
Dice Tower's People Choice is incorrect. However,
Oh.
I believe they had the most. But it was me. I have
You.
written down number 17. I believe that must have been Cartographers. I guess I had already played Cartographers at that point.
Whoa there. I thought this had to be like in the title, blank and right. You're just saying it's if it is.
Oh.
Okay, I
No,
guess that's
just a game that
reasonable.
was an X and right, flip and right. I don't know if any games really have something and right in the title.
Raw and right.
Okay. No, X and right as a genre, Cody.
I guess that's reasonable. Okay. So what am I? 1 for 3?
Well, that was 4 questions, so you're not 1 for 3. You're 2 for 4.
2 for 4?
You got
okay,
questions
I'm
2
still
and 3
50.
correct.
Okay, cool.
All right, question number 5. Which of these designers has the most designing credits? So on BGG, which one has the most
Ooh.
designing credits?
Reiner Knizia.
You actually probably be right. Vlada Chvátil, Matt Leacock, Paul Denon, or Jamie Stegmaier? Time is starting.
Whoa, okay. Not Paul Denon. So Jamie's... I mean, it could be Paul Denon. Who knows?
Again, Vlada Chvátil, Matt Leacock, Paul Denon, Jamie Stegmaier.
Strike off 2 of them for me, would you?
Strike off 2. Okay. It is neither Paul Denon nor Matt Leacock.
Okay, it's good because I was thinking Matt Leacock was up there. Jamie's done
Time
good
is
stuff,
up.
but he
Lock
hasn't
it
done a
in.
whole bunch of stuff. We're going with Vlada Chvátil, whatever his
That
name
would
is.
be correct, Cody. Vlada
Yeah.
Chvátil has
Yikes.
designed, according to BGG, has 31 design credits.
Wow.
And
I
Matt,
don't think I could name a single game that he's done.
Oh,
Wait,
but you
did
would
he
know
do
them.
Sheriff of Nottingham?
that I don't know. Possibly.
Okay.
He did Codenames. He did Mage Knight,
Ah.
the board game.
Yeah.
There's a few other ones. He's done a lot of things that are kind of all over the place. And now I'm actually blanking. But he's done a few others that are like very mainstream games. I think he did Galaxy Trucker, actually.
Oh, okay, that's what I know it
Yeah.
from.
But correct, Cody. And you have used
Yes.
1 hint.
Okay, 3 for 5. And I have 3 hints?
You have 2 now.
Well, yeah.
All right, question 6. Which of these games has a higher complexity rating on BGG?
Oh.
Raiders of the North Sea, The Isle of Cats, Furnace, or Honeybuzz?
Oh, that's got to be Furnace.
Are you locking it in already?
I'm locking in Furnace, baby.
Cody's locking in Furnace already. Gave it 3 seconds to marinate.
Yeah.
Cody, Furnace is the
keep me in suspense
lowest,
here.
the least
Furnace
complex
is the
game on this
lowest?
list. Absolutely.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, I just want to mention all of these. What do all these games have in common?
Well, they're light.
No, you own all of them, and you got it
Oh.
100% wrong. Not just like partially wrong.
I mean, of all of those, I would say Furnace is the thinkiest is the thing.
Well, BGG would say Honeybuzz.
Well, BGG's dumb.
So Honeybuzz
okay.
at 2.76.
I'll allow Honeybuzz, but I feel like Furnace would have been like second place.
Yeah, so Furnace
that
is at
point.
2.3 on the Geek, which I actually also feel like is kind of low. But other
Here's
people
the thing,
disagree with me.
I keep getting excited about thinking that I know the answer, and so I want to look cool and answer like right away. And I think it keeps backfiring that I get it wrong. So I'm going to start thinking carefully.
Yeah, 30 seconds is longer than you think, but it's also shorter than you think.
Well, what?
So right now,
Which
I
is
think
it, Nate?
I think you're back to 50%, Cody, and we're going into
I think I
question
am.
7. Still have 2 hints.
Okay. All right.
According to BGG, oh, this is an interesting one. According to BGG, what is the technical? How does it define hexagon grid? Is it a type, a category, a mechanism, or a family? Time is starting. Those are all different attributes, I guess you would say, if you look up a game. Which one of those does hexagon grid fall into? Type, category, mechanism, or family?
Strike out 2 for me.
Striking out 2. I'm going to strike out type and category. So it's either a mechanism or a family. 5 seconds.
This can't be a mechanism. I mean, it sort of is, but
And give me your answer.
family.
Incorrect.
No.
It's a
dang
mechanism.
it.
So BGG says
Dang.
anyways.
What do you think? What do you think, Nate?
Hexagon
What do you
grid.
think it is? What even is a family now?
The thing is, a game can have a family is like. So I think we had this conversation about Scythe, where Scythe, Expeditions, and My Little Scythe are all a family.
That is
on
what they
BGG.
mean, don't they?
It's an overarching
dang
thing.
it.
I
I
think
should have said mechanism.
Hey, the thing is, hexagon grid can be part of a game, but it doesn't have to be what the game is defined as, right? A hexagon grid can be a small part of a game. So I would say it is a mechanism. But again, mechanism's kind of a weird way to look at it, right? So
Yeah, it's more of like
it's passive.
an aspect,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I need to like get all of the rest right at this point?
Let's see. There are 5 more questions, and you need to get 4 more right, I believe.
Okay. So I can only get one
Yeah,
wrong.
one more wrong, Cody.
Okay, here we go.
And you have one more hint. Question number 8. Which of these BGG categories shows up the most in the top 100? Is it A, city building, B, environmental, C, mythology, or D, exploration? Time starting. Which of those shows up the most in the top 100? City building, environmental, mythology, exploration.
Wow, I don't even know. Might as well use a hint. Strike out 2 for me, dude.
Okay, I'm going to strike out city building and mythology. It's either environmental or exploration.
Okay.
5 seconds.
I'm going to go exploration.
That would be correct, Cody. Well done.
Yeah.
Despite the
Thanks.
fact that you have no more hints left now. So you're going to have to do the last 4 questions, but you need to get 3 right still, I guess. So
Okay. So yeah.
Question number 9, Cody. Which of these IPs does not have a board game implementation? At least not that I can find on BGG.
Okay.
Which one does not have a board game implementation? Dora the Explorer, Alien, Power Rangers, or Mad Max? Time starting. Again, Dora the Explorer, Alien, Power Rangers, or Mad Max. Which one does not have an official IP board game?
I'm quite sure Alien has one. I very much could see Mad Max having one. Power Rangers seems like one of those card-based games. I'm going to go with Dora the Explorer.
I'm going to go with Dora the Explorer. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Cody, there is a Dora the Explorer game. I believe there's like a Dora the Explorer Scrabble. There's like a Dora the Explorer adventure game. Obviously, they're all for children. They are,
That's just
however,
sad.
still entries on BGG.
So what was the right answer?
Mad Max does not
Really?
have any official board game. I'm guessing that'll change soon because that Furiosa sequel is coming out next year. I'm sure at some point there will be some kind of Kickstarter game, but not yet. Not as of yet. Okay,
Wow,
Cody.
okay.
You need to get the next 3 games or the next 3 questions correct. So no pressure.
All right. Okay.
Question number 10. According to BGG, which of these games in the top 100 has won the most awards? A, Twilight
okay.
Struggle, B, Wingspan, C, The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, or D, PAX Pamir? Time
Okay,
starting.
I haven't heard of PAX Pamir, so I'm going to mark that one down.
Twilight Struggle, Wingspan, The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, or PAX Pamir?
So let me give me a thinking out loud. I bet there's some dumb universe, which is this universe, where it's The Crew, and it's stupid. But I don't want to give it that honor, and I don't think it's the
5
case
seconds.
either. I'm going to go Wingspan, Home Slice.
Cody, that is correct. You're still in the game, my friend.
Suck it, The Crew.
So Wingspan has 17 awards, according to
Wow.
BGG. The Crew had 13.
And what
so it
are
was
all
close.
of them?
Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Okay.
All right, Cody, you need to get the next 2 correct. So here we go.
Okay. All right.
Which of these designers does not have a game in the top 100? A, Scott Alms, B, Matt Leacock, C, Friedemann Fries, or D, Michael Kiesling? Time starting.
Oh, wow.
Scott Alms,
I mean,
Matt
Matt Leacock is pandemic, so.
Friedemann Fries, Michael Kiesling.
I'm going to go with Scott Alms because I feel like he makes lots of games that don't end up doing super well. Unless there's something... Oh, is there something I'm
3
thinking of that he's
seconds.
done? Oh,
And your
it
answer,
feels
Cody.
so wrong, but Scott Alms.
That is
dude.
correct, Cody.
Yes! Woo!
You need to get this last question right. It all comes down
I
to
do
this.
need to get this
and
last one right.
This is beautiful because I have no idea if this is going to be a really easy or a really hard question. I genuinely don't know. So let's find out, Cody.
We can't make this up. This is dramatic, dude.
Question number 12. There is either eggnog or garlic on the line here. And I don't say that often or lightly.
No.
Which of the following, Cody, is not a tabletop shop YouTube video? Champions
Shop.
of Midgard review, more
That's
accurate
one.
board game titles, Tapestry
That's one.
review or Wingspan review? Which is not a Tabletop Shop YouTube video.
Dang, it's either Tapestry or Wingspan. Which one have I not exported? I think I exported Wingspan recently. So I'm pretty Oh, but Tapestry? That can't be right.
15 seconds, time's half gone.
No,
Cody whimpers in despair.
No, I know that it's not Wingspan, or I know that Wingspan is one that we have because I did a thumbnail for it recently and I didn't have to re-upload.
1 second. What's your answer?
So it's Tapestry.
Correct,
Tapestry home
Cody.
slice.
It
Yes!
is Tapestry. Or rather, is not Tapestry. There is no Tapestry tabletop YouTube.
Looks like someone's drinking eggnog, homie.
Actually, for this time, I won't fake it this time.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you going to do a vlog now of
I
you
will,
drinking
yeah.
the eggnog?
I'll post a short or something. Yeah.
All right. Dude, that was pretty epic.
I
was
like
awesome.
that it came down. I like that it came down to that. I had fun making it
Me too. I mean, of course, I knew all the answers. I was just trying to make it seem more dramatic.
It
So
was.
that I would like have to get the last one.
Yeah, I know for certain you knew the answer to that IP one. You came in confidently with Dora the Explorer that I just knew you were faking. Okay, that was fun. That was fun.
That was good.
So, listener, if you're wondering, you can go back. You can find the Way Brothers YouTube channel, and we had a nice Christmas special back then where we did this.
That
but
was
the other way around.
It was all like soundtracks, though.
That was
what we were
soundtracks then
doing it
because
off of.
we didn't know enough about board games. I don't know. We still liked soundtracks more, I think, at that point.
I think it was back when we thought we could incorporate soundtracks
Yeah.
into a YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to have two faces to our channel. Okay, well, we should probably hurry up, Cody, because we have a top 10 to get through still.
We do. And
Yeah.
last time we did this for the Christmas special, it took us a long time to get through all top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get down to it. But who's going to go first is the thing.
I feel like I usually go first on lists. So
All right.
I think I'm going to make you go first, Cody.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my top 10, and maybe we'll just explain for the audience who weren't there last time or haven't listened to the last one. We're doing our personal top 10 games of 2023. Doesn't mean they came out in 2023. It means of new games that we have played and experienced for ourselves over the course of 2023. These are our top 10 recommendations, choices, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So, my number 10, Nate, this is a game that it comes from a family of games that
My Little Scythe.
I
Locking it in.
No, I feel no, not My Little. I haven't played My Little Scythe, dude.
Recently. Yeah, I know, Cody.
I'm not sure if this lives up to the hype of the first game it came from, but this is an right game. This is Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right. My number 10. What?
Interesting. Right game. Okay. Out of
Well, I mean, that's
curiosity,
what it is.
do you
Right.
know how many games you learned last year? Did you count that up?
You know what? Let me jump over to my little document real quick.
Because for me, this was out of 62, which I'm fairly proud of. I know some people probably learned hundreds, maybe not hundreds, plural, but some people probably do. But I feel like 62
Sure. Well-
is pretty good.
Well, we need to clarify too because last time we did this, we recorded like in December, and then we did learn a few new games for the rest of the year that didn't make the cut. So I actually included some of those games in the running for this year. Does that make sense? So I didn't. Some of them I may have played in like December of 2022, but they were after the pool that we did for last year.
Actually, I did as well, and I'm glad you brought this up because when we were doing the quiz or the game show, I realized that I'll talk about it when I get to the game. I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Sure. So my pool is including those. There were 7 games I played at the end of last year.
Okay.
So, and then 34 more this year. So 41.
All right. So, Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right, Cody. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got, dude.
We didn't talk about it at all.
Should I talk about?
We don't have to talk about it a lot, but like something.
Well, they use the dice from Dinosaur Island and they make them a little bit different. And it's probably one of the heavier roll and rights that you will play.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
There definitely is. You're building a lot. There's multiple kind of phases that you work through. Yeah, pretty in depth, and I think it held up. I definitely like it.
Okay. Almost made my list. That was my number 11.
Oh,
And I do like that
dude,
game.
how many
so.
how many crossovers do you think we're going to have
Oh,
here?
that's a good question. Let me look here. Maybe 2. I don't think there'll be more than 2.
I'm guessing 3. There could be 4. But I'm thinking 3. So we'll see.
All right. Well, my number 10 is definitely not a crossover, and it's already been mentioned on the podcast. You know, we say that less often these days, have you noticed? And I like that. We're definitely
nice?
diversifying our portfolio, aren't we?
I'm proud of us.
But already been mentioned on the podcast, Lorenzo Il Magnifico, the most recent game I've learned, and it barely squeaked its way onto this list. Like I said, it was a bit of a letdown because I wanted it to be heavier than it was. BGG, to me, implied, I don't know exactly what it is, but maybe it's just above 3. I know it's above 3, and I expected it to be heavier. But I've already talked about the game. I do enjoy it. Looking forward to busting out the expansion and getting some more plays in.
Yeah. I mean, Castles is like 3.0 on BGG, according to
and that's
Vote.
a good game.
And I feel like that's pretty heavy. Well, it's pretty spicy. How about that?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
Okay. I have no comment on that because what I know is what you told me about earlier in this podcast.
Then please don't bother.
So cool. Yep. All right. Well, my number 9, I think, is going to make your list.
Okay.
I think.
I won't say if it does.
The way you described Lorenzo Il Magnifico, I feel like you spoke more favorably of this one. My number 9 is Anachrony. This was something of a grail game for me because it was a bit expensive. I feel like it was out of print for a while, and I was looking for it for a long time. And I finally bought it from I don't know, one of the board game websites where you can buy stuff. And I was a little bit disappointed. Hard to put my finger on why exactly. I mean, we reviewed this recently in the podcast, so it has been mentioned before. And it's not a terrible game. I think this was just hyped up so much in my mind, and I think it's like 43 or something on BGG, and it is sought after by a lot of folks, and obviously it's been out of print. So I think I just had this really played up as like, oh man, this might be one of my favorite games. And it definitely was good, but not quite that good.
It's a hard situation. It's a hard position to put yourself in, isn't it?
It is.
Like I feel
really
like I'm
is,
there
dude.
right now with Ankh, Gods of Egypt, that one that kind of finished out the Blood Rage trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it just seems super good, and I've heard it's really good at 2 players too. And so that's becoming my next Grail game where I'm like, I definitely am going to get this at some point, and I'll probably wait so long that by the time I get it, it'll disappoint me. So
Yeah. It's just how it is. Hey, here's a question for you. What do
Yeah.
you think the weight of Anachrony is? I'm looking at it right now.
the weight of Anachrony, I'm going to say it's 3.96.
This is 4.02.
Ooh, I was close, dude. That's within 0.06. That was a pretty good guess.
I'm surprised by though.
Surprised that it's low or high.
That it's higher. Apparently this is probably the weightiest game I've played then. I thought for the longest time was Brass, but Brass is like 3.92 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My number 9 is a December learn for me as well, if I remember correctly.
Oh. Wow.
This is Broom Service. So I probably haven't talked about Broom Service since I learned how to play it.
I remember you talking about it.
Basically, it's a pretty standard pick up and deliver, with the exception of the card system, which I really love. I'll briefly go over it again because it's definitely the best part of the game. But basically, you have different characters that you can pick from that do different actions within the game. And this is a pick up and deliver game, so there's kind of a lot going on, and you can play with more advanced variants and everything, more resources, more tokens, whatever. But you have a hand of cards, and everyone at the table has the same hand of cards, and you pick multiple cards to play. Like you pick the hand that you're going to have, and you put the rest of your cards away for that round. So then you have those ones to work with. And whenever you play a card on your turn, you have to pick if you want to play it weak or strong. Weak gives you a weaker ability, but it's guaranteed. Strong gives you a much better ability, but if anybody else also picked that card for this round, it completely negates yours and they play their card instead.
Yeah.
And so it's this psychological warfare kind of where it's just, man, it's so angering It's so anxiety inducing, but I just love it so much. I absolutely love it. And because like if you always take the weak option, okay, you'll always get all your actions, but I don't know if you could win that way because the strong actions are really so much better, you know. And so it's just a great mind game and looking at where the other people are on the board. What would they pick? Okay, but now they know that I think they would pick that, and so you know it's just this whole thing. You know, I love it. Yeah, that's broom
That's
service.
really clever. Normally, I don't like mind games like that, but I would want to give this a try.
I really enjoy it. I wouldn't say go out and buy it because I think it's definitely a love or hate game. But if you ever get a chance, yeah, and it works fine at 2. It's less punishing at 2 probably than it would be at multiple player counts.
This may be somewhere on my list of games to acquire, but we'll see. All right, man, we're running over time. We're going.
It's a
we're going
special
long.
episode, Cody.
That's right. I think our last Christmas episode was like almost 90 minutes.
So it was long. We don't have to go that long.
So we've got another 40 minutes to kill,
Let's not
bro.
push the envelope here, buddy.
All right. Well, my number 8. This is the second in right to make my list.
Man, I hope there's no more for purely personal reasons.
You know what? I don't think there are anymore. Disclaimer. Yeah,
Okay.
there's no more of those. This is one that I played pretty recently. It's in, I think it was one of the most recent rounds of games I got from Game Nerds.
Okay.
Three Sisters.
Wow.
A game that I really didn't know anything about up until very recently. I think maybe I was looking on Board Game Geek for lighter, cheaper games to get, and I just kind of saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, and I looked it up, and it seemed pretty cool. Yeah, Three Sisters is great. It's it differs a little bit from Rar and Write. I would say that it is close, maybe about equal weight is Rar and Write, but it approaches the game a little bit differently. So instead of having like this grid where you're like trying to draw boxes and stuff and like plan routes and everything, as well as like some side quest for, you know, normal Rar and Write, Three Sisters is just a whole bunch of different tracks that all kind of influence each other. So there's no way that you can focus on all tracks in one given game. You're going to have to decide what you want to focus on. And some of those tracks will let you, like, you'll get rewarded in certain ways for then focusing on a related track. And so you're trying to get some good combos, some good synergies. And it was pretty satisfying to play through. I definitely would recommend.
What is it
Three
about
Sisters.
what is it about tracks that's so satisfying?
I think it's literally seeing your objective, seeing places you could go, seeing the little juicy rewards at the end, and as you go along the way, it's like, here's a reward, here's a reward, here's a
Yeah.
reward. It's like you're actually getting compensated with dopamine as you play the game.
It's
which is
true.
pretty
I think
cool.
I think that's a good point. And it's like any game with tracks that does tracks well is like they all have juicy rewards, but you are not getting to the end of all of them. Sorry, that ain't
No.
possible.
Yeah.
So pick, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't get to the end of any of them, you're really missing out. You did something wrong. Probably. So yeah, I love
That really
it.
sucks.
Okay, I
It
gotta
teaches you choice.
I gotta have to
I
look
guess.
into Three Sisters because Rowan
Yeah,
Wright
check it out.
almost made my list. It was my number 11. So
Okay, all right.
okay, my number 8. Also have not played it in a while. This is Cascadia. So this was I believe this was the Spiel des Jahres, maybe even a couple of years ago, or Game of the Year, something. This is a tile drafting game, and then you are placing these tiles in your own grid, trying to make patterns based on what the scoring goals are for that round. You have all these different animals, but then you also have tokens that you draft simultaneously. So the tokens and the tiles are matched up randomly every round, and you draft them in their set pairs. And so there's 2 things you're thinking about whenever you draft, and you don't get to pick, oh, I want this one and that one. It's whichever ones are randomly paired together is what you get. And so, yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's there's not too much player interaction, but there is some looking maybe at what the other person needs, maybe hate drafting a little bit, but it's not bad at all, really. I think it's a pretty peaceful game on that front, but there's a great little puzzle with trying to, just get as many points as you can based on the goals. It sounds so simple, and I remember when I heard about the game and looked into it, I was like, man, this looks really boring. But then when I had the opportunity to play it without actually committing and buying it, I did, and we played it like 5 or 6 times. Like, we really enjoyed it. So, surprisingly fun.
Is Calico the one that's often compared to this one?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't played Calico. I think they're pretty similar, maybe. But I don't know enough about it. I don't know.
All right.
They are both
So-
hexagon grid games, that mechanism.
Having not played Calico, which one would you recommend, dude?
I've heard that Calico is very AP inducing, analysis paralysis inducing. So I guess I would stick with Cascadia, which I don't think is that bad on that front.
Okay, cool beans. This is one that I've been meaning to play for a while. I think I just haven't cared that much to actually buy it. Do you own it?
No, I do not.
Okay. Not that that matters much since you live halfway across the country from me.
Yeah, let me ship it to you, Cody.
No, just send a picture of it to me. I'll tell you what my move is, and then send me another picture afterwards.
That sounds worth it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, my number 7. I was almost about to preface this, but this is a new one that I played this year.
that joke will never get old.
That's
keep
dumb.
using that one.
Well, it wasn't a joke. I was about to be like introducing it as a new one.
Oh, that was your actual.
Anyway,
well, you were not wrong.
I was being dumb. Okay.
Okay.
Don't argue with me when I'm dumb. So anyway, number 7 is one of the first review copy games that was provided to us for free. And one of the only review copy games that has been provided to us for free. Dice Manor.
Hamsters versus... okay.
No, shut up. We're not talking about that, yo. We already had our ranter.
Yeah.
No, Dice Manor.
Wow, Dice Manor. Okay.
I almost said Arcane Legends. Arcane Wonders. Yeah. I haven't admittedly played this for a while. We played it a bunch of times around the time when we first got it, and then we kind of haven't really touched it since. But I think I need to pull this out again because it's been a little bit, and I'm starting to miss it a little bit. Dice Manor is a clever use of dice rolling, where it's not exactly Yahtzee style rolling. It's more you roll all your dice, you group your numbers, and then there are if you choose a number to place, let's say you rolled like 3 2s and you want to do something with a 2, you have to place all of your 2s. But you can split those 2s between a variety of different things. And after you do that, for the next round, you'll re-roll all of your dice. So it feels sort of like Yahtzee in that way, but a bit less punishing. It's just kind of a clever way to manage your dice, try to balance working on a few different tracks, working on getting tiles to add to your manor, but then also just making sure you're getting points in general, because if you're doing a bunch of other stuff but you don't translate that into points, then it doesn't matter. So yeah, great balancing act, great little game, and I think it's new this year, 2023 or last year. It's recent.
From what you've said about it, and I think I maybe even watched your video on it, it seems interesting, but just whenever I look at the game, it just seems so blah, like it didn't push the envelope in any way. It just seems really run of the mill. But so did Cascadia, and I loved Cascadia.
Perhaps.
I liked it a lot.
Maybe in visuals. Admittedly, I think Dice Manor would do great with an expansion, or at least more tiles, because there's only, like, for each category of tile, like, four to 6 different types. Mm-hmm. Not that makes much difference. Like, they're all the same thing, so it's just an aesthetic thing, but it would be kind of cool if there was more. But it's my number 7.
Okay. My number 7, in all caps, Scout. I don't know why it's in all caps. That's how it is in BGG. I don't know what that is. But Scout. This is a trick-taking card game where the cards that you are dealt, you keep them in that order for the entire game. You pick them up. That's the order they stay in for the entire game. But you can orient them one way or the other at the beginning, your choice. So they all have one number on the top of the card and one number on the bottom. And you can pick which way you want to orient them, and then that's it. That's your hand for the rest of the game. And then you are basically playing out simple, like, poker-style sets, runs, whatever, always trying to one-up the person ahead of you and take their cards. And whenever you one-up someone, you get the cards that were previously laid down as points, basically. But the strategy of the game, of course, is your hand management. That's really what it is. It's a hand management set. What do you call it? Set. What's the
set collection?
No, not set collection. Betting game. No, what? This is like a basic mechanism. What is this? Where you're like everyone's like throwing a card in, and whoever has the best card wins. What's that mechanism?
Trick taking.
Trick taking. Thank you. What kind of set collection? What am I talking about? So this is a hand management trick taking game, which I love, right? Because every time you play a card, the 2 cards that were not next to each other anymore now are next to each other in your hand, right? And so it's about thinking ahead and trying to plan your moves while still trying to maybe pick a round to lose so that you can make your hand better to win a bigger round next time, Works really well at 2. I'm sure it works well at other player counts. Didn't get a chance to try, but definitely a unique twist and a lot of fun.
This is a game that I have very little interest in acquiring.
I understand.
But I'm impressed that it made number 7 on your list. So maybe it's
really
maybe
fun,
it's
man.
worth a thought.
And it's so fast. That's the other thing.
I just gave the thought.
You said recently, I don't know how recently, maybe half a year ago, but you said that you enjoy like quick games that still challenge your intellect a bit, and this 100% falls into that category. Absolutely.
Really?
And it's quicker than probably pretty much any other game you have. Like this is 20 minutes for sure.
Those games though, I like them when they also have like somewhat compelling theme, and this just seems super abstract and boring.
It's 100% abstract. It's like a carnival circus. I don't know. It's abstract 100%.
But I'm not trying to diss on your pick, so sure, you can have that. That's fine.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
That's Scout, my number 7.
Okay. All right. Well, we're up to number 6 now. My number 6 is a game that I'm curious. No, I don't think it made your list. No, I don't think it made your list, but we'll see. A game that I came across by accident. It's a Dice Tower Seal of Excellence. It costs like $10 on Game Nerds.
Oh, I know what this is.
I'd never heard of it before. And it was like a Spiel des Jahres, or Kenner, one of the DeGerry's nominees
for
and I don't remember
a
which
year
one it was.
that seems questionable at best.
Yes, definitely questionable compared to when it actually came out. Fantasy Realms. I have made a short about this, possibly multiple shorts about this, because this is just a fun little game. It tickles that little happy spot that I described to you, where what you just described, wanting quick games that, well, they play quickly, but they also challenge your intellect. And I think Fantasy Realms definitely fit the bill. And I always get excited when I find like little treasures that just last in my heart. You know what I'm talking about, dude? You're like, I want a game sort of in this realm, but I also want it to be cheap. And then you find it and you're like, yeah.
Cody, I'm feeling combative here, okay? I'm feeling pugnacious.
Well, you want to throw down over Fantasy Realms?
A little bit, man. A little bit. Because try and tell me how strong is the theme in Fantasy Realms exactly?
I mean, I see where you're going with that. I would argue it has fairly strong theme. So, well, thematically, you're putting together like your power to overthrow another nation or something. So I get how it's odd, or like your power is in military, and then the other person has like weather. So I get that that's a little bit abstract in that sense.
But Cody, even going beyond that, do you even think about that when you're playing the game? Or are you just thinking about which combinations are the best?
I think about that a little bit. I mean, because the card art is right there. But the thing is, how the cards play off of each other is thematic. So, like, if you have a bunch of fire cards, they're all going to get doused by your water cards. So you have to have cards like make sense based off of each other. And I think for the most part, a lot of the card abilities, they thematically make sense for which cards they'll play well with or play poorly with.
Okay, defended well enough that I will no longer push the point, but you should still try Scout.
I'm good, dude. I've got Fantasy Realms. Fantasy Realms, not trick taking, hand management drafting game. Whoever has the best hand
not
wins.
on my list. Not even in my top 100, actually. If I'm being
Whoa,
honest.
It didn't make your top 100?
No.
Dude, this game... Okay, I have to look now.
It did make my top 62 for the year, though.
Top 62?
It was a joke, but it's too late. Yeah, okay.
Fantasy Realms. This is 33 for me.
That is just... Yeah. Cody, you have to play Scout, man. Scout will dethrone that. I guarantee it.
I like theme in my games, dude.
The one thing I like about Fantasy Realms is that center kind of timer, right? That everyone can kind of manage and manipulate a little bit, right? Where you're once you hit whatever it is, 8 or 10 cards or whatever in the middle, then the game ends. But everyone has control over whether or not they make that go faster or slower. I do like that.
Yeah.
That mechanism.
That's pretty cool.
My number 6, Expeditions. Yeah, I think,
no fanfare or anything coming up to that.
It's weird
because Expeditions.
Because it is a really solid game. And I obviously like it a lot, even if you can't hear that in the inflection of my voice. I think it's really well done. I think it looks incredible. I think it's just the same thing where I was just a bit disappointed. I expected it to run smoother than it did. And I've played it twice now, actually. And I don't know. I think with more plays, it would rise higher. But I feel like after playing it twice, I'm like, like it's good. I respect the design. I enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun. I just I don't feel like I want to rush back out and play it again right away,
Sure.
And so I don't know why. But I this is bad. This is my number 6 and I'm like, listen man, I don't hate it. No, Expeditions is a good game. I love all of these different hexes that you're exploring, and the indirect player interaction can be a bit annoying, but also it can also be a lot of fun too, where you're all mingling around on this map with your huge mechs. And then the card system is also a lot of fun, where you have active cards that you can then put back over. It's basically hand management, I guess, also kind of deck building in a way, but not really. But then you get to upgrade all these different things. You're tucking cards and making certain things better, unlocking special abilities. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a solid design, and it looks phenomenal. You want to talk about theme, this game, wow, it's incredible. I love it.
I don't know, dude. There's not much theme to Expeditions. I mean, there's barely any art.
Don't even start. The art is phenomenal. Yeah. I'm guessing we'll hear more about that later. That's that game. We'll see.
Yeah, possibly. All right. Well, my number 5. This was another Grail game for me. You know what? I got a lot of Grail games this year. I'm proud to say. It's almost kind of sad because when I look at my priority list on our games to acquire document, it's starting to dwindle. And I kind of look at it. I'm like, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. It used to be like, oh man, I want to find this one. I want to find this one. But I've gotten a bunch of them. Huh. So I need to start learning about more games.
Yeah, man. Put yourself back out there. Come on.
I know. I need to work harder. All that to say, this is a Grail game that I got and met expectations and made the list. Barrage.
Okay.
I'm disappointed that I didn't get a chance to teach this to you. Hopefully we'll have a chance at some point.
Yeah, it's just such a beast,
It is definitely a beast. I will say that I had certain expectations for it that it didn't. It's not that it didn't meet the expectations. It just kind of sidestepped it a little bit. It was a lateral move, but I still enjoyed the game quite a bit, and I was quite impressed with it. It's a worker placement game where most of the places you go, you have to place multiple workers, and you kind of have a little pool of workers. So you could put down 2 on one spot or 3 in one spot, and usually the first person to get to a spot can place less workers, and you make it harder for other people to go there. So, true worker placement mechanism there. And then there's this resource wheel element where you spend resources to do things. It's like a construction equipment that you're using, but it goes in this little wheel that slowly moves around each turn, and then it gets back to you. And then once it reopens, you can take all those resources out and use them again. So it's like you're spending resources to yourself, but then you get them back when they're not being used anymore. Yeah, it's pretty clever, actually. And then the final element that's cool about it is just the whole, you're building dams and you're trying to get hydroelectric power. That's the whole theme of the game. And that sounds boring, but the board is just multiple rivers and streams that deviate and go down different paths. So you're trying to dam up certain areas and redirect water. So someone could build a dam somewhere because they know water flow is going to come down through that river and they want to use it. You could build a dam and a diverter farther upstream and just steal all the water from them and divert it back to yourself somewhere else farther down. So it's very clever. It reminds me a little bit of Brass, just in the very thinkiness of kind of the networking nature of it. Yeah. But yeah, very good game.
Cool. Can't say anything bad. Can't not say anything good.
Hey, but you can say what your number 5 is.
My number 5, I guess it's not going to be on your list because you said you didn't have any more in rights. Cartographers is my number 5. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because I feel like it's gotten a lot of attention on this podcast. A great little flip and right, and yeah, I mean there's some extra maps out there you can get. There's even the little skills mini expansion, which is a lot of fun. This is the one that I was talking about. This one came up in the game show because it was it was like the highest ranked X and right. Because by the end of by the actual end of the calendar year, I had played it, and so it had, gotten a ranking. Whereas by the time we had recorded this episode last year, I hadn't played it yet. So, Cartographer is my number 5.
I was almost going to say I haven't played that yet. I realized that I have because I own it.
So that one you do not like that one as much as your other, flipping rights, rolling rights, whatever that are on your list here.
Nah, I enjoyed it. It has some cool mechanics for it. I like how you always score each of the scoring cards twice, but at different points in the game. So you have to decide when to change focus. But yeah, maybe I just need to play some of the expansions, like the promo packs or whatever that you got, the map packs, because it sounds like that kind of changes it up a little bit.
There's some fun ones. Yeah.
Okay. All right. My number 4, hitting up the number 4s now, almost to the nitty gritty.
The games are getting good here, finally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is our first crossover. Expeditions, baby.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to agree with you here. It's sort of weird. I'm in the same boat as you. So I'm like, this is a good game, but it's not that bad. It's pretty good. Yeah. I don't know what it is exactly. I think it doesn't have the charm and majesty that Scythe has. Scythe just holds true. And this being the sequel to Scythe, there's some expectations that come with that. And I don't think those expectations were quite met, but I still think it's a pretty dope game. Yes, excellent theming, excellent art. Switching over from a multi-unit game like Scythe to where you just have one unit and you're going around exploring.
It's just a pawn, really.
Basically, yeah. That's kind of the sad part. Is it's just kind of a representative.
But do you know what I'm saying?
Indicator?
Do you know what I'm saying
I mean?
about how this, especially if you compare it to Scythe, this game just does not run like a well-oiled machine like Scythe does. It just feels clunkier.
I don't know if it's mega clunky, but yeah, you're right that it doesn't have the same silkiness that Scythe
Maybe
has.
it's just not as intuitive. Like, Scythe is a little bit simpler, I guess, and a little bit easier to wrap your head around. It's like, here's your 4 actions. You do top, you do bottom if you can. Bada boom, bada bing, right? Expeditions just is a little more convoluted.
I'm hesitant to make too much of a judgment in that sense because I've played Scythe like literally close to 200 times.
Yeah, sure.
So I kind of know it like the back of my hand. Yeah. And obviously Expeditions, I think I've only played 3 times at this point. Yeah. So I won't yet make that judgment, but I see what you're saying.
All right.
How about that?
Well, I respect the pick.
All right.
My number 4, also have not played it in a while. This was back in like the December, January days. Isle of Skye. It's a tile placement game. This is, I believe, even maybe an Alexander Pfister design. But the weird thing about it is, well, there's a couple cool things. One weird cool thing is that the sides don't have to match. So, like in Carcassonne, for example, which this game looks aesthetically quite a bit like Carcassonne. You have cities, roads, fields, whatever. Sides do not have to match. You can just have a road going into a field, whatever. That feels really, that's a weird thing to, when you're so used to a game like Carcassonne, that's a weird thing to get over. But it's also kind of cool because there's more possibilities, even if it looks weird. But the cool thing is the betting mechanism, where I think it's 3 tiles you get at the beginning of the game, and you, behind a private screen, assign a cost to each of those, and you're going to lose the cost that you assign to them. And then you reveal your shields, and the other person, it's been a while since I've played, but the other person like has an option to buy one or maybe even multiple of your tiles, maybe just one. But basically they can buy your tiles. And so the one you really want to keep, you price higher, of course, because you really want to keep it. And if the other person does end up buying the tile you want, well, at least you get compensated because you get the money that they're spending. But it's just cool. It's kind of this mind game again. And maybe I just like games that have kind of a psychological aspect to them where you're trying to price your tiles accordingly because you're going to lose whatever you put, but you don't want to lose a really good tile to the other person. And so, but then, you also have the option to buy some of theirs. And okay, well, how much is worth spending on that tile, that they have priced? So I love that system. And then the actual tile placement is pretty straightforward. There's nothing too crazy. But that betting not even betting, I guess, but it's just that pricing kind of system with the tiles is really, really cool. So, fun game.
What that reminds me of a little bit is a game that I have not played and that I do not own, but it has moved up on my list of a game I want to get.
Okay.
Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I was just watching a video of it recently, and it's like each player. Did we play Dice Manor together? No, you didn't? Okay. It looks a little bit like Dice Manor of how you're setting up your little castle. There's different rooms. They have to connect with each other, and doorways have to match up and whatnot. But each round, I think it's a different player gets like 5 or 6 tiles that they draw, and those will be the tiles that are drafted that round. And they decide the order that they want to put them down in. So like they arrange them all from left to right, and it's like the most expensive is on the right and the cheapest is on the left. So, basically, there's preset costs that they have to assign to each of these tiles. So they decide how expensive they'll be, and then I think that person chooses last what they buy. So all the other players get to draft. So let's say there's a tile that you really want.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you make it more expensive so that it's less likely for other people to draft. But then you have to pay that much.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a very similar mechanism.
I'd rather put it
also,
lower.
It also almost kind of sounds like an I split you choose kind of thing also.
Sorta,
right?
yeah.
I get to make a decision, but then you get to make your responding decision, and I get whatever's left over. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Need to play more games like that. All right. Nate, we're down to the final 3. Isn't that exciting?
Big 3.
Top 3 games of 2023.
Mine are big ones, too.
Yeah, let's see how much crossover we got now. My number 3, I don't think made your list, but it did make my list. Obsession. Once again, a Grail game. This is the 3rd Grail game, this list, that I bought this year. Because I found it just sort of by accident on some random obscure website for a physical board game store that just had it for a reasonable price. And so I bought it. Obsession is super different. So I got Obsession and Barrage about the same time. And Barrage is definitely ranked higher in weight on BGG. But Obsession, I feel like, took me like twice as long to figure out. Just because it's so different. Once you get the hang of it, you figure out what's going on and what's a good strategy to do. But it's like worker placement, but without really worker placement. It's like you have these workers that they don't really function as workers. They more function as resources that you assign, but then you get them back after a certain amount of time. Sort of like the Barrage resource wheel, actually. And you're using them to activate tiles that you have in your little tableau. And those tiles will give you money. They'll give you, it's like reputation that you can use to get better cards and better things. And then those tiles that you're acquiring are also worth points. Not only points at the end of the game, but they get you in the running for certain objectives that will give you even more points. Yeah, it's even kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
Just over the air without some visuals.
Yeah, I can say that, I mean, like you said, I've only had one play with this. And so I feel like there's not a chance it was going to make this list for me because one play is just not enough for a game like this.
Mm-hmm. But it was pretty dope. It was pretty impressive. I enjoyed it quite a bit. We've played it a fair amount of times at this point.
Cool.
I want to get the expansion for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Glad you like it. I'll just say that much.
Thanks, dude.
My number 3 also has not been mentioned in a while. This is the sequel to Pillars of the Earth. This is World Without End. This game shocked me. Like, this game blew my mind how much I liked it. It was crazy. This is like, it's not ranked very highly. It's ranked even lower than Pillars of the Earth, which I did not enjoy, really, from what I remember. It was a long time ago. But this is a heavy-ish Euro. It probably falls into the category of medium weight, but it felt kind of heavy. And there's this cool. It's your typical. You have lots of resources that are interacting with one another, but there's this cool part of the game where there's this event card, and the event card, does something that an event card does. Whatever, it's not too special necessarily. But then there's in every corner of the card there's a resource. And the person who's the first player that round gets to orient it however they want, and everyone takes the thing that is pointing towards them but then there's also a secondary thing that it's pointing towards, like a number basically, and that number is how far you move on a track. And so two things are happening at the same time. You're getting a bonus resource and you're moving on a track. But moving on a track, there's actually good things and bad things on the track. So that's also affecting the decision you make basically. So I love that aspect, and the rest is pretty straightforward. Euro, it has another cool mechanism where it's the Kemet style battle system actually, but it's for the actions. So you have like 10 action cards in your hand or 12, and you pick one to play on your turn, and you pick one to discard for the round. So you don't have a choice to play it again. I absolutely love that. I love that planning ahead, but not planning ahead where you can kind of pivot very easily, And it's not super punishing either, but it's kind of like, I love that it forces you into this, all right, start planning now, pick a card to play, pick a card that you are not going to have the chance to play again this round, And I just love that. I think that's a great mechanism.
I'm looking at the board here, and it's weird because it definitely has that just sort of drab, bland Euro game look to it with 100%. Like the castles of Burgundy greens.
Dude,
and
it's like the poster
browns.
child for this.
Yeah, but at the same time, just how they have the whole little city laid out, it looks very relaxing simultaneously.
Honestly, if you can find it, you could probably find, I don't know if you can find a new copy because it's an old game, definitely on print, but you could probably find a used one for not too bad. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit.
Okay. I'm surprised. I don't remember you talking much about this. I mean, I remember now that you brought it up at some point, but
it just
completely went out of my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my number 2, not the best game I played this year that was new, but the second best game that I played this year that was new. Yes. Excellent. I'll give you a hint. Shem Phillips?
It's got to be Wayfarers. I don't know what else you would have learned.
Oh, it's cool. I know. What else can it be? Wayfarers of the South Tigris. What a game, dude.
Wow, what a game.
Very weighty. A lot to this game, a lot to think about, a lot of decisions to make, a lot of balancing. It feels like the one negative is it feels like you put in a whole lot of work for not very many points at the end. But it's like you just want to play another game anyway. I don't know how to describe it. It's cool because they went with a different aesthetic from a lot of the other like West Kingdom games and North Sea games. It's a very like green, almost neon green color scheme, like some pinks and yellows in there. So it looks pretty different, but it's kind of cool how they're kind of branding it in a certain way, branding that trilogy. Because I've seen, what's the next one?
Scholars is South out, Tigris, man.
Yeah, and it kind of looks the same as this one, which I mean, it's the same family scheme, whatever. But yeah, great game. Kirsten does not like it very much, so I don't know how many times I'm actually going to really play it.
Feel free to ship it to me whenever you like. It was
impressive. All right, $70.
Hey, I'll trade you Meadow straight across.
No.
Think about your wife,
good,
Cody.
Dude.
Think about your wife.
I'm good. I'll buy her something else that I also want to play. So yeah, I don't have much more to say about that because I'm pretty sure it's on your list.
Well, it's not my number 2, I'll tell you that much.
Whoa, okay.
My number 2 has been mentioned, though. You got to guess?
Shouldn't
be too hard, I think.
Anachrony.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Anachrony. Wow. This game was as heavy as I was expecting it, and honestly, it was definitely as good, maybe even better than I expected, and I had pretty high hopes for this game. But this one I've still only played it once, and I feel like I like the game more now than I did right after playing it. It's something that's literally like been marinating, kind of like it's gotten better with time, even though I haven't revisited the game yet. But I won't go over it too much. But yeah, it's really complex. The borrowing resources from yourself thing works better than you think it would, and I really love that. And yeah, I mean, it's something that I don't think would get to the table very often, and it's such a beast, looking at setup and, takedown and all this organization required.
So long.
Not to mention remembering all the rules, but wow, stellar game. Absolutely love it. Anachrony.
Yeah. Yeah, Anachrony is pretty dope. And I made my list. And that's our second crossover, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Let's see. Expeditions and Anachrony. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, my number one.
Give me a hint. I feel like I should know this, but I don't.
My hint is going to be that it's almost disappointing what my number one is in sort of a weird way.
Almost disappointing. I'm assuming it's not Gloomhaven.
It is Gloomhaven.
Oh, no way, man.
Yeah. So I guess why I say it's kind of like disappointing is because I guess technically I officially played Gloomhaven for the first time this year.
Yeah, right.
But not really, because you played one scenario with me like last year or the year before.
I don't think that counts,
you brought it over one
because
time.
I forgot to bring the map tiles, so we had to print some map tiles out on your printer. It was really just not a great experience.
All right, I'll allow that. So it doesn't really count. But then Jaws of the Lion, right. I started playing like right after Christmas. So that kind of really made the cut. But Gloomhaven said it, I think, by the fact that I own it now and have played a couple scenarios. Mm-hmm. I guess why I say it just seems somewhat disappointing is because it's like, hey, yeah, Gloomhaven. We all know about Gloomhaven. Nothing new.
And we literally talked about it last episode.
I know. It's been around in our hearts what feels like longer. And maybe it's because you've played it a fair amount longer than I have. But yeah, it's Gloomhaven. That's my number one.
Hey,
I'm listen to like 10 of our other episodes if you want to learn about it.
I'm glad to see it's on the number one spot. And I really hope you are able to get it to the table often enough that you can really, get into what the game has to offer, because there's a lot there, man. That's like playing Skyrim for the first time and like finishing the intro quest, and you're like, this already feels like a number one game, but I know there's a lot more waiting for me.
Yeah, I get you.
My number one.
All right, well, so tell us about Wayfarers, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's just what it is, right? Yeah, it's just another like. My top two especially are both heavy games. Like, wow. But it's just this one. This is what makes this a cut above Expeditions for me. Is Wayfarers is just, it just works better, I feel like. And maybe it's a personal thing, just how, the game works with me, how it clicks with my mind. It just flows better. And I just like the decisions that you get to make in the game more. I love the upgrading not your dice, but upgrading your numbers is very cool. The track in the middle and how much to invest in that is very interesting. How much to invest in which type of cards. You can really, there's so many different avenues to explore and experiment and see how things work out. Yeah, absolutely. Shem Phillips, thank you very much. Looking forward to Scholars. Scholars seems a bit weird, and I know it's supposed to be. I've looked into it a little bit. But yeah, Wayfarers was definitely my number one.
Well played. I'm excited for Ezra and Nehemiah. That looks pretty dope.
That also, yeah. Cool theme.
Is the Kickstarter, has that already ended?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever.
We had a special edition as well. Did you prepare for this, Cody, or did you forget about it?
The expansion of the year?
Yeah. I figured we've played so many that we should also include the best expansion we learned this year.
Sure. I chose 2 because they're expansions for the same game that I got at the same time that I incorporated at the same time. You want to guess?
2 expansions. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
I mean, like, thinking about, because I kind of made my decision on how much better the expansion made the game, in my opinion. If that's really the honest way that I approach this, then probably this also should have made my list, but, it just couldn't. So.
All right.
Go ahead.
You're too ashamed to include it. Nidavellir, the expansions Thingvellir and Idavol. Yeah. It's hard to decide which of them is better because they both add a lot to the game in different ways, and I just like playing with both of them. Thingvellir is probably better, so we'll go with that. Yeah, Thingvellir. But both of these games, I love Nidavellir, and these expansions, as I have explained in the podcast before, they add to the base game on the same scale as the Champions of Midgard's expansions add to the base game. I think it takes a great game and makes it even greater.
I think it takes a not even tolerable game and makes it a good game. So My pick changed, like, because I made this list, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And actually my pick for the expansion changed recently within that time period. So it was going to be the Immortality expansion for Dune Imperium. It's another track. It adds in a new type of card that you can acquire separately. So there's more deck building abilities, and the graft whatever is very cool. But it was dethroned, Cody, by, get this, dethroned by the Hornhelm expansion for cartographers. Because it's just, in my opinion, like, I've only played two, like the Frozen Expanse, which I thought was meh. Like, the map's a little more restrictive and there's more coins, but that's basically all it adds. Not that great. But this one, the Hornhelm expansion, I know I talked about it recently, so I won't, go into too much depth, but basically it adds in a market with 9 different items that affect the game differently, and they give you a track, and all these different items, you can use them to move up on that track and score some big points. You can score upwards of 30, 40, 50 points, if you really get a lot of them, which is a lot in cartographers. But you can't just take them. You don't just have all of those available to you. You have to pay coins for them. And at the beginning so not at the first round, but at the beginning of the next 3 rounds, you flip over a card that tells you which row or column is available, and you can purchase things right then and there using coins to purchase items, basically, that give you abilities. And so you have 3 that are unlocked. You can purchase any you want, and then that's it. And then at the beginning of the next round, a different 3 are unlocked, and you can purchase them. And so it's random. You might, because you're only going to flip 3 cards. So you won't, not all of the items will be available over the course of the game. But they're just great. I mean, it adds another thing to be thinking about. And wow, it's a phenomenal expansion. I love it.
So let me ask you this. Maybe this is the same thing you already addressed. But if you had to throw out one of these from your collection, Immortality or Hornhelm, which would you throw out?
Well, I'm gonna throw out Hornhelm, because Dune Imperium is just like, you cannot.
Interesting.
I cannot take something out of that game. I cannot do that. Right, and there are other expansions for cartographers that I can experience. There's like 6 of them.
Okay.
Not to mention, I'd like to give a little shout out to the skills. It's not even an expansion; it's like a mini expansion. I love that. That's also amazing. It's like these 3 different. There's like a deck of like 8 or 9, and you pick 3 random ones for the game, and there are also special abilities that you can do a one-time use and just pay a coin or 2 coins or 3 coins even to just use a special ability like at some point during the game. Yeah, absolutely. It's akin to those special ability cards in Hall of the Mountain King, basically. Like powerful cards that you have to pay for. Each person can use each one once. That's a little bit different, but yeah, very cool. So that's me.
I was about to add this to my list of things I definitely want to get, and it's already there. So
definitely, man. Like,
perfect.
If you want to add some spice in, like Hornhelm, definitely, and the skills mini expansion also, definitely.
Okay, all right.
Makes for a good game and a much more thinkier game, than Cartographers is already kind of cool, but this is like, it's adding more and more layers, and that's just good. But we're over an hour and a half now, Cody, and so I think that we should wish the audience a Merry Christmas and issue a thank you for them and all the listening that they've been doing as listeners.
And remember, Merry Christmas. How about here? You take this. Okay, you take.
No,
this
you
one.
said you were gonna make them laugh, Cody. So make them laugh.
Make them laugh. Make them laugh. Make them laugh. How is that?
That's a great movie. Phenomenal.
Did I do great?
Not a Christmas movie, but
only seen it once. It feels like a Christmas movie. It should be.
Well, okay. I don't know if I agree with that. Singing in the Rain, folks. Check it out.
Hey.
Is that our outro?
Merry Christmas, guys. Yeah.
Terrible Christmas outro.
They should pay us for this.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Merry Christmas. Thank you for listening, and keep doing so.